How's it going, everyone? Before here, welcome to the Uplift Radio. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've all had a good week thus far and that you've managed to keep steady through the currents. And yeah, no, I thought in today's personal vlog, I thought I would maybe take a bit of a different turn on like from the topics I was talking about, and more so just something that I've realized these last few weeks, maybe a month, and that's been dawning on me, and I just said, fuck it, why not share it? So yeah, it's actually two things. Number one is the importance of staying in your own fucking lane in life, and the second is to really just work with things the way they are, because those two things for me have been probably what I've been lacking in, handling the challenges and, the, I guess you could say, the experience of this year thus far. I realize when you don't stay in your own fucking lane, number one, you negate the responsibility that you have towards your own life and your own goals, ambitions, dreams, and more importantly, you negate accountability for what goes wrong. And that's a difficult one, because when we don't stay in our own, at least what I've learned is when I don't stay in my own fucking lane, there's always someone or something to blame, and at the end of the day, it basically prevents an important, potent amount of self-reflection that has to happen when you're trying to figure out, yourself and your life, and where things are heading or why things are the way they are. And so, yeah, that's been a really big one, is to stay in your own fucking lane. I mean, I think because we're, at least where I live here in South Africa, there's a strong sense of connectedness. And so everything is very community-based, and it's a very beautiful thing, because everyone is concerned about everyone cares. For the most part, if you're close to someone. If you don't, it's a different situation. But for the most part, the African way of life is really about community. It's about, looking out and thinking about the next person next to you, not just your own self, despite what, fucking news and whatever try to portray. That's truly the African way of life. People do fucking care. Maybe not the politicians and anything, but, for the most part. But anyway, let's not go off on a tangent there. But yeah, I think the danger in this way of life of connectedness is sometimes losing your sense of awareness about who you are and what you need to be going through and what you need to be working on. And then, when life brings up, challenges, when you have to have yourself in order, you start to realize, oh shit, I spent too much time outside of my own lane, outside of my own, I guess, path or journey or, personal experience, simply because I haven't fucking learned how to stay in my own lane. You spend so much time and energy investing in other people and their problems that and I'm not saying this is everyone, this is me. It could be some of you, it depends if it resonates, if it doesn't, so be it. But what that does is when you are constantly invested in trying to figure everyone else out other than yourself, when you make mistakes and when you come short, or when things aren't always working in life, you always have someone to blame other than yourself. You negate a serious, important amount of self-accountability and responsibility towards yourself and your well-being and your own personal state of affairs. And, it becomes one of those things where you're like, oh man, but, I was catching this guy's hype or this person's hype, and, I was catching her, whatever, stories and vibes. And so it's just tough, man. It's tough to learn how to negate the detrimental effects of, constantly being in a community-based society. And I say that with utmost respect, because I think community is really important. And what I've learned from being here is that you get nowhere without community, truly. But it also leaves room for pitfalls, and so I think, more than anything, the number one thing that we can only take control of is ourselves. So when we negate that responsibility because we're tending to other people and other things, you always end up with some type of, it's just awkward situation, or maybe sometimes a bit of confusion, distortion, disillusionment, even frustration. and then you start, figuring out all these other external things, start pointing at things that, really have nothing ultimately to do with you. And so that's what I really kind of trying to say with staying in your own fucking lane, is that everything, yes, you're a part of, everything outside of you, but truly, and for truly, it has nothing truly to do with you. Everything's just happening as it's happening. And so that was the first one. And, the second one, which was really, I guess, my revelation for the week, is expectation. And so people have different views on expectation depending on your personal strategy towards life, how you go about doing things, how you take care of business, how you set your goals, your ambitions, or just basically how you want to, what type of relationship you have with life. And for me, what I've realized is that yes, we have desires and we have goals and we have ambitions, but expectation, for me, it's become one of those poisons that I've had to remove from my life, like, entirely. And that's because it's not the load shedding, it's not the fucking power cuts, it's not any of that, but it's just the nature of expectation and what it does to you. When we expect things, it distorts our ability to see things the way they are, and more importantly, to accept and work with things the way they are. More and more, just, I guess, being, just a South African experience, it really fucking forces you to work with things the way they are. And having expectations is more of a contributing factor towards frustration rather than satisfaction. I just now realize that the world, at least the world that I perceive, is one where expectations are ultimately placeholders for disappointment, because you create a sense of, disillusionment, with the way things actually are. Expectations is something you put out into the world and you want it so bad, and it's from your own mind, but truly life has its own dictations, it has its own fucking flow, it has its own way, and more it's starting to reveal that, to me personally, and I feel like shit for everyone, truly, but I can't speak for everyone else. But yeah, not just negating expectations and learning to just work with things as they are, and trusting in that process rather than projecting yourself and putting these placeholders for what you anticipate or what you desire to happen. Because if those things don't happen, the frustration that you end up having with things and people, it just makes you more of a toxic person in society. And I'm not saying expectation is bad. This is a personal vlog, so I'm saying, in terms of me, expectations has made me a bit more toxic than I would want to be. And so, excuse me, those are the things. I think those two things have just been, really, I guess, dawning on me, is how to, firstly, just to stay in your own process in life at all times, because that's the number one responsibility that you truly have, not anything else outside of you. Everything else outside is a choice for the most part, and again, with those choices, who the fuck knows what comes from it. And number two is just expectation. If you utilize expectation effectively without falling into the pitfalls of disappointment, frustration, or disillusionment, then by all means, but in my personal experience, it's been a hindrance. Truly, it's been a hindrance in finding a way to, navigate this life as steadfast and as calm as possible without, blowing up over everything, And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think about, the nature of expectation, and more importantly, staying in your own fucking lane, what that means to you. What does it mean to you guys to stay in your own process? Some of you may have been implementing it for a long time and you're really good at it. Others may not be, and you could be struggling with that shit, and maybe this could be one of those things where you may also want to be contemplating on what it means to stay in your own lane, stay in your own business without being cold, right? Without being distant, without being cruel, and there's always a much better way and effective way to do shit. So yeah, no, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you in the next personal vlog. I'm gonna go back to the addiction topic. It's kind of a tangent, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and thank you.